All right, welcome to the stream, guys. Today we're doing something special. We're doing a streaming 101, getting started on streaming. I guess it makes sense to talk about myself a little bit. I've been streaming since for 5 years, a little over 5 years. I started seriously streaming in 2014. No, actually, you know what? I've been streaming a little longer than that. I've just been partnered since 2014, and I've been doing it for a long time. Had ups and downs, have seen the growth of people around me, and have grown my own stream as well. So thought it'd be cool to just start giving you guys some, I don't know, some pointers, some thoughts, some advice, some ideas on how to like evolve a stream. Because streaming is huge now. Streaming is big. Sorry, I just had like the worst lunch of all time. I went to 7-Eleven, bought a 7-Eleven hot dog, and I was in a bit of a rush to get here, so I had to do that quick lunch. But we like the world of streaming is changing everything. Like it's taking over social media. It's one of the best ways to get brands and messages out there, especially because you have people tuning in and sticking around for hours on end. And it's different from television in the sense that people are seemingly personally connected to the actual streamer. So it's a type of engagement that we haven't really had before, and it's changing a lot of things, and a lot of people are jumping on it. It's changing esports for sure. I don't think esports could exist without streaming. I remember esports existed before streaming was a thing, but it was so underground because the best you could do is, I've been in esports since before YouTube was a thing. So like whatever matches you had going on, you'd have to go to a specific place to download it. I'm talking like some LimeWire kind of stuff. Then YouTube came out, and then you know, streaming platforms came out, and then so streaming has taken it to another level. I remember StarCraft was the first esport that really blew up on streaming. So it hasn't gone back since, and that's just where esports has to happen. New ways for people to consume content. They're getting to interact with the content itself, which is like a pretty new thing, and it's different from just like leaving a comment here and there. This is like live interaction. So the person that's streaming actually could see your messages and start talking to you and all that. It's just changing the way we watch everything. And it's creating careers. I'm sure many of you kind of would like to know how to start a career in streaming, because it is a great thing. Like, you just create your own schedule. You're working for yourself. And then you have people that are supporting you directly rather than, you know, through third parties and things. Your money is your money. It's great. And a lot of people are building careers that way, so it's pretty awesome. Myself included. I actually did you know I used to be an accountant?
Yeah,
Patrick?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I ended up switching over into this, and this is like a million times better.
A little bit, yeah, just a little bit better than
Just
accounting.
a little bit better, yeah. I in my accounting job, you know, I'm not allowed to waltz over to a 7-Eleven, pick up a hot dog right before the stream starts, and chill out like this. So this is great, and I just get to like help people out with the things that I've learned, and accounting was not nearly like as fulfilling or as like free. You know what I mean? Like, this is like freedom. So some of the things that you kind of need to be a successful streamer, I think one of the most important things is confidence. You definitely need to be comfortable in your own skin when you go online. You cannot be afraid to be yourself. And I know it sounds cliche to say be yourself, but honestly, the way that you build a brand is that you communicate to people the type of person you are. And once those people latch on to you as a person, they understand how you think, they understand how you react, they're interested in hearing your thoughts on different things all around. And that only comes when you stream confidently. Like you have to believe that you are an entertaining person or you have interesting things to say. And then when you show that kind of confidence, then people are willing to come in and listen to it and follow it and like be a part of it and support it. I think my friend Mango actually told me cool thing about streaming is you have to understand that somebody is choosing to take 4 to 5 hours out of their day and give you money to just watch you talk or play a video game. And so them dedicating that kind of time is a like an awesome thing and a thing that you have to respect. So like when people are doing that for you, you have to understand that you are worth listening to. Even if it's just one viewer, you have the ability to entertain somebody in that way. So you could do it for more people. If you have one viewer, it doesn't mean that there's only one person in the world who finds you entertaining, right? So as long as you understand that about yourself and your value, then you'll have some confidence to keep building, even if like your viewership is low or like the chat interaction isn't crazy on a certain day, etc. Another thing that helps out a lot is consistency. Now, I personally have a big problem with this because me being in esports, it means that I'm going to be traveling a lot or I have other obligations in order to maintain that part of my career. But if you're not worrying about that, then you could, like the majority of streamers, they'll be online for like 6 to 8 hours a day on the exact time that they always say they're going to be on. Like if they say 1 p.m. Eastern, they're on it every single time. Much harder for the traveling folks like myself, like Raquel. She travels a lot, so she has a hard time doing that as well. But at the very least, if you do have a busy schedule and you're trying to balance streaming with other things, which at the beginning you might be because you can't just like quit everything and then just jump into streaming when it's not making you any money, right? So how to maintain something consistent. If you don't have a consistent lifestyle, you could at the very least be consistent about informing your viewership base about when you're likely on or when you're going to be on this particular week. If you're not going to be on a certain day, you let them know you're not going to be on a certain day, things like that.
Yeah, Chad agrees that consistency is key as well. Also, Chad is loving your Voodoo Ranger shirt.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Yeah. It's actually like a really sick shirt. Like I actually like it. Yesterday at a bar, I ran into someone who said that she absolutely hated Voodoo Ranger, but that's because she doesn't like IPAs. So I told her, I'm like, look. There's some good stuff, right? You might not like IPAs. IPAs are like a very acquired taste. It's not for everybody, but I think it's sick. And so let's see. Yeah. So consistency revolves around not just you being on time and on a certain schedule, but also letting people know when you're going to be off that schedule so that people can just rely on when you're going to be on or off. That's the best way that I can manage it. But in a way, I sort of wish I could just focus on streaming or just focus on esports, but that's not the world I live in, so I try to make it work. And I'm still consistent with how I inform my audience when I'll be on or off. That means having other platforms like Twitter to go online and tell your audience, hey, I'm not going to be on at this point, or I am going to be on at this point. Or I don't think YouTube works the same way for that, does it? Nah, not really. So everyone should get a Twitter and an Instagram. Instagram also helps with that a lot. You post a story saying, hey, I can't be live today. People know. You say, hey, I'm going to be live today, surprise stream, then they know. You just got to let your audiences know on different platforms, wherever they're following you, and have people follow you on multiple platforms. And last but not least, caffeine. Right here. It helps. No. It actually, I'm actually a proponent of caffeine on the long streams, but you got to time it out because you do not want to crash midstream. You got to spread it out throughout the stream, and then also it's double entendre the term. It is, or is this a pun? Give me
double entendre.
It's a double entendre. because we are choosing to stream on Caffeine here from the Dig Studio. So that is the platform we've chosen to give you guys all this production quality and all these, and specifically this series where we're going to be helping you like grow your stream and learn. So both are great for streaming. But I definitely I need caffeine today more than anything. I need caffeine. I made the mistake of I went to a gaming bar event yesterday, and I didn't eat after I was done, and I woke up starving like at 7 a.m. So then I just had to hold that because I knew I wasn't going to be able to knock back out. But caffeine is helping out today, so we're good on that. Shout outs to Game Fuel. Okay, so yeah. I think with those things down, I think a super important thing that I don't know if people focus on too much is standing out from the rest of the crowd. As streaming is getting bigger, the space is getting more and more saturated, so you're finding yourself being similar, or competing with a lot of other people, and you want to what you see more than anything is people trying to be similar to other streamers, whereas in my mind you should be the opposite. You should stand out. Like when I think of growing as a stream, I think bigger picture. I don't think of like, oh, I want to be at 10 viewers, and I get to 10 viewers much more easily if I copy this other big streamer. I think that's like too short term of a goal, unless you just want to build off those 10 viewers and then see where you go. Maybe that's fine. But in the end, I still think you have to find your own style, and it has to be unique because your audience is going to be there for you. And if you're exactly the same as someone else, then there's nothing saying that they're not just going to ditch you and watch the other person too, because you guys are just rocking the same style, right? I think you have to be unique, offer something different. You need to be a reason for someone to choose to watch you either instead or in conjunction with someone else. Different ways to stand out. I remember, I guess the best way for me to explain it is explain how I decided to stand out on my stream when I started. When I started streaming, I was working at a Big Four accounting firm, and I would come home hella late, super tired. I'm talking like 7 p.m. and beyond after starting like at 7 a.m. or something. And I'd be exhausted, but the only thing I knew how to do back then, which is what other Melee streamers were doing, is I would just do Melee lessons. Like, I'm a good player in Melee, so I should use those talents. And if someone wants to learn the game, have them submit their VOD to me, and then I try to get them better, right? And that was cool and everything, but I kind of felt like it was just more work. Like I was just finishing my job in accounting, and then I would come home, and then I would just start my job in coaching. And then not only that, but whenever I decide to focus on one specific viewer to help them out, it's like I'd ignore the rest of the chat and the rest of the viewers, and they'd kind of tune out because it doesn't apply to them at that point. So I just wasn't liking it at all. But I knew that I wanted to build my stream because I wanted to get the hell out of accounting. So I decided to kind of just come home and do whatever the hell I wanted. Doesn't matter who's watching or who's saying what. I'm just going to crack a beer, sit on my stream, drink it, and then talk to my viewers as if they were friends that I was hanging out with at a bar. That was my idea, because when I want to relax, I go hang out with friends, go to a pub, go to a brewery, something like that, and then just grab a couple drinks and then just shoot the ish. I don't know if no swearing on this one, but just talk and just hang out and let the night and the conversation go wherever it's going to go. So that's what I decided to do with my stream. And then people started latching onto that because they noticed that my energy was way different. I was doing something I actually enjoyed doing on stream. I was good at it because I put myself into the mental state of, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it as openly as I can, right? Like, I didn't have rules for how I wanted to interact with chat or how I wanted to have these, crack a beer and have a conversation kind of shows. I just went in and did it, treated it like these are just regular people that I'm hanging out with. And from there, it kind of turned into my whole thing. It's like my community started to come together as the sub pub, people who like drinking beer or not, it doesn't matter, right? But people who like hanging out with friends, which is essentially what this was, and who like talking to friends and who like talking about different things. I don't just, like, my stream doesn't revolve around a game like some people's do, right? And that's okay too. But that wasn't for me. So I decided to stand out by making my community be about my thoughts, ideas, and discussion of those thoughts and ideas with my community. They could be as like important as politics, or they could be as ridiculous as, like, you know, awful steaks from Denny's. Like, I don't know, like, just, you could just come up with anything and you could talk about it as long as you want. So that gave me the freedom to use my stream as a way to express myself, which in and of itself made me stand out, because you're not going to get a HugS stream anywhere but my channels. So that's what you want to do. You want to say is, can anyone experience my stream on a different channel? And the answer should likely be no. Now, whether or not a ton of people like your particular brand is a question you need to, you'll find out as you're streaming, and you'll adjust to make yourself more accessible as time goes on. And that's either by improving the quality of your stream, improving the way you're interacting with chat, and different things like that, which we could talk about more as, like, this streaming 101 thing is going on. I'm kind of going off the cuff and just ideas I have on things that help me out. But I definitely think standing out is super duper important, and that's the way I did it. Too many people just go on and play games, and then they don't make it anything more than that. And I think it does need to be. I think one of the best, like, little gimmicks that I learned from Mango when he was streaming is that when he started streaming, he named his stream the Mango Nation, or they named it for him. I'm not sure, but then it became this whole self-sustaining thing where if you were a Mango fan, then you had to be in the Mango Nation. And if you weren't supporting his stream, then are you really in the Mango Nation? And it's just like, it just became this self-sustaining thing where, yes, he's got a lot of fans because he plays great Melee, but then you also got to be part of this club, right? And so, like, every streamer from then on out, specifically in the Smash community, I don't know if, like, do you know if, like, Ninja has the ninjutsus? I don't know. Like, does he have, like, a group name, or it's
I'm actually not sure.
Right? I don't think he does, right?
I don't think he does.
Which, it's okay. Like, you don't have to have that, but I think it's a good. Does Shroud have anything like that?
I know Doc does, of course.
What does he call his group?
Like, it used to be like the Slick
the
Daddy
Maggots?
Club, and then now it's.
Wait, the what club?
It was called the Slick Daddy Club.
The Slick Daddy Club.
And then they,
I like that.
And then they changed it to the Champions Club. So, like,
is it because he became too popular? He couldn't really call it the Slick Daddy Club anymore.
I think that was part of his rebranding.
Okay,
but we won't go into that.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Understood. But yeah, not everyone does it. And I know it's a big thing in the Smash community where you have, like, the Sub Pub, you have Mango Nation, you have the Plup Club, you have what other ones are there? But Ludwig has, like, a joke one and then a real one. It's the Ludbuds, but then his name is Ludwig, so then they called themselves the Ludwigers, but then Ludwig says you can't do that. Get rid of it. No. So the Ludbuds now. Yeah, you just have a name for your group, and then everyone just kind of affiliates with your stream. And it's like, I don't know, it all goes into branding your own stream and your own community. So something like that super helps. It's an easy gimmick. You just come up with a good one for your stream, and you're golden. Some tips for standing out. Okay, I know I already gave some, but we could reiterate some here. Don't try to play the biggest game just because it's the biggest game at the moment. I have oftentimes thought about playing League or playing Fortnite. Maybe my viewers would like to watch it because they're all familiar with it. It's like, nah, no one really watches me for that. And if they did want to watch specifically that, they could get that in a lot of different places. I think transitioning into a major game would be something that would take a lot of work, and you'd have to do it in a specific way. But you can't just like start on the big game and expect to get big through that. You can't just start. I mean, you could, right? Anything is possible. And if you really love Fortnite and that's what you love, then go for it, right? But if you're doing it just because it's the biggest game, then you're just gonna sink. Like, you're just gonna get drowned in all the other people streaming it. So I suggest playing the games that you love, and if it happens to be the most popular ones, fine. Your energy is going to create an audience for sure, but just make sure it is something you actually like. Games that do help you grow an audience in some kind of way are there's niche games out there that they have their fan base, but people aren't playing it. Like right now, you could take a look at probably like Pokemon Sun and Moon, and that game came out a while ago. It's still got a huge audience, but not everyone is streaming it actively because they're on other things now.
Yeah,
so
there's also games that are like kind of have months of the year that do really well. Obviously, since it's October, horror games do really well.
Oh, is that true?
So yeah.
Oh, I haven't noticed that. Okay.
Indie horror games. I
hate horror games.
Yeah?
I hate them. I used to have like spooky Saturdays or something. And just because like people do like to see their streamers like just get scared and whatever. But it's just too stressful, man. Like I could watch any horror movie. I think I could literally just even like see a ghost and I'll be okay. But engaging and interacting with the horror elements in games are the worst. It's so stressful. I can't stand it. I can't stand jump scares like constantly coming at you when you're in it. In a movie, it's fine. But when you're in it, oh man, it's the worst. It's okay to watch other people play it. It's actually a lot of fun. You're never scared. You're just watching them get scared. It's great. But terrible. I would never do the VR horror game ever. No, it's terrifying. But yeah, games that are growing too, small but growing. That's a thing. You could also jump on, I think if you want to hit something popular, but also accessible, new games are great for that, where it'll be saturated for a while, but you'll have people jumping in to check out like many channels. Like sometimes they'll even want to jump in and watch, like let's say when Pokemon Sword and Shield comes out, that's going to be huge. Tons of people are going to be streaming it. I'm going to stream it. And then let's say you're a viewer who wants to watch that, and then you go into like, I don't know, let's say Pokemon is playing it, right? And then the chat is just so full and like everyone's spamming. You can't get a word in. You can't interact with the streamer. A lot of viewers will choose to watch the smaller streams so they could actually get like a stream experience and check out the game while being able to interact with the streamer. And that could be a shot for you to gain a new viewer and build an audience from a brand new game that is popular, but isn't saturated in the wrong kind of way, right?
What's like the weirdest game that you've found yourself like streaming in the past?
It's like a 99-cent game on Steam called Shower with Your Dad. Have you? You asked the question, man. I don't know. I'm just giving you the answer. It's there's 3 dads, and then there's 3 kids, and they all like they match to certain dads, and then as soon as the dad pops up, you have to like zoom your mouse to the dad to shower with your dad. It's so weird, but it's totally allowed on streams. So. They have a ban list, by the way, which is absolutely terrible. You need to read that list someday. It's kind of funny. But yeah, this game was allowed, so we played it on stream. I had to make sure for my chat. I'm like, dude, are you guys sure that did you just look it up?
No, I'm just still laughing about Shower with Your Dad.
Yeah, Shower with, yeah. It's a real game. It's a little fun. And then sometimes there's like, as you're running to shower with your dad, there's like soap on the floor, so you have to like dodge it. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's the weirdest game. That is not a game that's going to build your audience, in my opinion. I think it's got a pretty low ceiling there. But fun games like that actually are are cool ways to like give your audience a break from the game that you're always playing, which I think does help. Like there was that one, the guy with he's like in some weird like kettle, and he's got like a shovel. Yeah, getting over it. Yeah. That game is just a game you play like once or twice, or like until you like completely beat it. But it's just a good break, and then people get to see you frustrated and pissed off because you keep falling down. It's a really annoying game. But I remember I actually asked a friend. I was like, "Hey, I want to play a new game on stream. Do you have any like good quality, like it looks good, etc. It's fun to play?" And then she goes, "People love to watch Getting Over It." I'm like, "Oh, I haven't heard of it. I'll try it out." And then I paid for it. I downloaded it, and then I played it. And in the middle of playing it, I was like yelling at her. I was like, "I am so mad that you brought this game into my life. How dare you?" And then I never played it again. I quit like after 2 hours. Another advice, more advice on standing out. Keep your stream chatty, like just talk. Interact with your audience. Build off of the things that they are saying. I think.
Speaking of interaction, I have no clue says hi.
What's up?
Speaking of interaction, I have no clue says hi.
Hi. See, that's harder to build off of, but you can still come up with something, right? You could work off of anything. Like for example, if I'm streaming like a regular stream, and then like this is all I got. Let's say I got one viewer. All he does is he comes in and he says hi. I'll start talking to him. I'll start talking to him a little bit, and then I'll start bringing up how one of the worst things you could do. This is just how my brain works, right? I'll say it in a certain kind of way, but I'll start thinking one of the worst things you could do on Tinder is just message them and say hi. And then I'll just start going off on some kind of tangent. And then the hi friend who came into the chat will start to respond in some kind of way with something like, "Oh, yeah, Tinder sucks," or "I've never used it." And then I'll start talking about that. And then you could just build off of whatever your chat is giving you, because it needs to be a conversation. Because in the end, a lot of the streamers I watch do not engage with their chats. And I don't know how a streamer like that exists, but sometimes they do, because sometimes they're so big that their chat doesn't even require interaction. Their chat is just doing their own thing, and they're just going off on their copy pastas and their memes. And that's like when there's a certain point where you're probably so big you just get to play, and then you don't have to interact too much directly with your chat, but you're still talking, right? You should at least still be talking. Sometimes I see streamers that are just, all I hear is the mouse click and the keyboard buttons. They're not talking. They like, the chat asks a question and then they answer. They don't create questions from nothing, which I think you need to do. Like, don't just sit there and wait for someone to ask, "How was your day?" And then you go, "Cool, let me finally talk to chat." It's like, no, find ways to engage them where they're asking you things based on what you're saying. And then you could ask them questions too, build off of what they're saying. And this has to happen every stream. And it's a talent that you have to like develop. Because I've seen some of my older streams, and I used to be pretty bad at engaging with chat. I thought I was fine, and I was just doing the normal like, "Hey, how was your day? It was great. Hope yours was too." And then like, it's just kind of like, that's it, right? But then you start to find ways to build off of everything, which if you think about it, streaming is literally just you sitting alone in a dark room talking to yourself for like 4 to 5 hours. So you have to go beyond that and build up talents to be able to talk to these people for that long about anything. Improv is the word I'm looking for. If you can be good at improv, or you can learn it through your stream, you're just going to be better off like going for the long hours, just making things up and just building off of whatever you're being fed. Another thing that helps is making sure that you're building some sort of stream brand. Like that means like your layouts, your what do you call it? Your panels on your channels, whatever art you have going on your channel, whatever whatever buttons you have anywhere on, that link to your channel, whatever, what you're calling your sub community or your viewer community, like whatever you're like the sub pub. For me, I never call them anything else. It's always the sub pub. It's on my shirts. It's on my tweets. It's on everything. And then not only that, but you yourself as a personality has to match the brand of your stream. Like, so for example, I work with New Belgium because I legitimately love craft beer. So it's not in conflict with my brand. It works with my brand. And then my brand is also like, you're just aware of the things you represent when you're on stream. For me, a couple of things are like, yeah, beer, good food, the memes that I have in my stream, I keep track of those, and I'm aware of what kind of things my community are coming up with for me. And that's all part of your brand, right? Like, it's just, you have to be aware of what your community is helping you create. So if yours is the stream where people come in and meme about like you being old, which is what they do in my stream, then I know that that's part of my brand. That's just another layer to my brand on my stream. I like to troll a lot when I'm streaming, so I know that trolling and people being in on it is part of my brand as well. So it's not just the images and the verbiage, it's also just the way you act is consistent with the way that your stream sees you. And that's for you to figure out. That's not as like clean cut, but you have an idea of what you're all about, and that is in and of itself your brand. Another thing is make sure that you have all your social media connected, and you should be on every kind of social media for the most part. I recommended earlier Twitter and Instagram. I guess you could also rock other things like YouTube, TikTok. Is TikTok just the new Vine? Is that all it is? Is that?
It's like Vine with music.
With music?
Or like,
couldn't you always put music on Vines?
Yeah, but this one is like, it's not even just music. It's kind of like audio clip based, but like you can basically use it exactly like Vine, and some people do, but I feel like the majority of the base kind of just uses it as like it can be even like audio from like a movie scene that they just like sync their actions to.
Okay.
It's very strange. Like,
but
yeah,
is that available through the app? Like that audio from the movie?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So in Vine, you'd probably have to do it all yourself or something. Like you'd have to snip it for yourself.
You'd have to like do that in post and then load that into Vine. Does Vine even Vine doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't exist anymore. I just know it got bought out and then it got just taken down, and I don't know if TikTok was just the new version.
I straight up just feel like a boomer every single time I go on TikTok.
Yeah. Well, I never go on TikTok. I just see it on Twitter.
I downloaded
They're
it once,
funny.
and I might have opened it like
twice,
like a handful of times.
But I mean,
on my phone.
I think you feel like a boomer every new type of social media initially, and then like you learn how to use it, right? Like you might feel like a boomer when you start streaming, because you're like, what's OBS? I don't get it. Like, where do I put this? And like, I'm still a boomer on stream. Like, I'm probably technically one of the worst streamers on the planet. Like, with my technical ability, you know what I mean? Like I don't know how to handle a lot of technology, but it's not because I'm old. It's because I've had this problem since I was like younger, like 18, and I wasn't a boomer then. So it's just a Hugo thing. That's part of my brand, actually, just being absolute crap with technology. So
yeah, speaking of that, like, what are some inside jokes that you have with
in my stream?
In your stream, the Sub Pub.
Okay, so one of my favorite inside jokes is that I'm 26. I've been 26 for like the last 5 years, and it doesn't matter. Like, there's some new way to make the joke every time. Like, there's a clip, I don't know if you saw it, with Raquel, where we were at a bar at a karaoke place, and then she asked me, "Is your name HugS86 because you were born in 1986?" And I was like, no. That's the jersey number of my favorite basketball player. His name is Drederick Tatum. Which, do you know who he is? He's the Mike Tyson from The Simpsons.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So I just named him. And then she goes, oh, okay. And then she goes, because that'd be really lame if it was just like the year you were born. I was like, yeah, that'd be awful.
That alone.
And then I was like,
shows
that would make me very old. Yeah.
That alone shows that you're a boomer, just simply because you referenced an early
Yeah.
season episode.
Early
of The
Simpsons season episode. Yeah. But it was a deep cut, because if you knew who Derek Tatum was and you saw that clip, you're just dying. You're like, he really picked a boxer from a cartoon show based on another boxer, not even a basketball player. But that's one. Oh, and then we also came out with Sub Pub shirts, and it said established like underneath. You know how like shirts will say like established, and it said established 1986. I'm like, no, let's make that 1992. And he's like, okay, and he like deletes it and he puts 1992, and I'm like, no, keep the 86, cross it out like with a pen, and then write 1992 on the bottom. And that's actually what the shirts say all the time now. They just say 1992 with the 86 crossed out. But yeah, like you just work on that meme and you just build it, and people like love doing it. That's one of my favorite ones from my stream. We got a couple. We got a couple like not so appropriate for this stream kind of memes. I can tell you about that later. But yeah. So having those actually like memes, real talk, are probably the biggest currency on the internet today. If you run a couple good memes, or you know how to meme, etc., your online stock is just much bigger, and your stream is no different. You got a funny copy pasta from your stream, people spread it, or people are always using it in your chat, or they're spreading it to other chats, and then they're wondering where it came from. And then same thing with emotes that are based on memes, maybe like those get spread around, like things like that. Anything that gets people feeling like they're on the inside of something is a good thing, which is what a meme is, right? It's just an inside joke that everyone is in on, like every time. What's your favorite meme right now, dude? Is it a boomer
like
meme?
An on-the-spot question, damn it.
If you don't have a meme off the top of your head, you're a boomer, dude.
Yeah, right?
If you're a zoomer like me, you're going to know a meme right off the top of your head that you like.
If I was born in 1992.
If you were born in 1992, you'd get it.
I was born in 95, so I'd be
it. Damn. My favorite meme right now, probably, oh, damn, now I can't think of one. Well, the Area 51 meme was my favorite like a month ago or 2 months ago. That was killer.
That was great.
Did you like the Area 51?
I liked that was a Facebook meme at first,
Yeah.
which are uncommon memes.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
and it just
rare.
spread, yeah.
That's rare.
Yeah. That one was good. I liked the Stranger Things one, where it's the kid from the Stranger Things. He's just standing there flipping off the camera, like looking like he had like baggy clothes on it. And then people just show the picture, and then they just say something deep, starting every sentence with, "The strangest thing is that," and then you just say some like thought-provoking thing while the guy's flipping off the camera. I don't know. I just
it's so
found that
difficult to describe some memes because a lot of them don't have names.
No.
So I'm thinking about the one where it's like the two women crying and screaming, and then it's like the picture.
The cat just
like,
sitting there
grinning. That
one's good. Yeah.
What I have to if somebody's never seen that image and I'm explaining it, I look insane.
Yeah, and they will not get it like at all. They're like, no, it's the cat. He looks mad. Don't you get it?
And that's basically live streaming in a nutshell.
Yeah. It's literally just a bunch of people who get your joke, and then they repeat your joke, and then you build on the joke, and that's it. And you just get more and more people in on those jokes. That's what memes are. That's what streaming kind of is too. And then final tip on standing out, which I think is super duper important. I've talked about it too, is being authentic, being yourself. Do not try to be like other streamers. You could get advice from other streamers, and you could learn from other streamers for sure. You actually definitely should. I learned from a lot of other streamers. I've learned from Mango. I've learned from Ludwig. I've learned from from Nairo. I've learned from all kinds of streamers, and specifically in the Smash community, because that's mostly what I watch. But in the end, you still have to provide something unique. And the best way to be unique is to be authentic and be yourself, because you are already an individual who's got your own way of looking at things and expressing things. So you need to do your homework and find out what really makes you you, and then build on that. Some people believe that streamers are like fake, or aside from people that blatantly create characters like Dr. Disrespect, of course they're fake because they're characters. That makes sense. They're creating a character. So that's not really, I wouldn't say that's authentic. It's authentic in the style that he's presenting it. So authentic could mean different things. It could mean, authentically creating a character that comes from you, but then it could also mean being yourself. It depends on what you want to do with your stream, right? But it has to be from your brain. It has to be your idea. It has to be your vision, whatever it is. If you're looking, my personal style is to just be myself as much as possible. So if you're looking to do that type of streaming, like without having characters, a lot of people think that streamers can be fake. And the way I combat that is that you don't necessarily have to be fake to succeed in this kind of work. You just have to find a way to best communicate the person that you are. And that takes work. That part is a little deliberate, which could be seen as inauthentic, but in the end, you're still delivering your actual personality. So when I have a friend who used to say, I hate it when you go on your bits on stream. I'm like, what do you mean my bits? And he goes, because you go on a bit, dude. Like, I know when you're just being you and when you're going on a bit. I'm like, dude, my bits are my jokes. Like, they're still me. Like, I'm finding this shit funny. I'm finding it funny, so I'm going on this bit because it comes from me. Now, granted, I am exaggerating and I am like trolling and I am doing these things, but I'm finding humor in all of those things that I'm doing. So it's still authentic. I'm just finding a way to communicate that part of my personality in a way that people are receptive to online. And then immediately after that, I started like making a joke. And then they started cracking up. And then I go, wait, is that a bit? And then he's like, it is a bit. I'm like, then why are you laughing? Because I do that kind of thing in person too, right? It's just like stream is just your regular everyday personality, but more fine-tuned to be taken in by people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't doubt that someone like Jimmy Fallon or like Conan O'Brien, that the way they are on screen is actually their personality. It's just very, very, very fine-tuned, and it's not as messy as if you were just talking to them in person. It's fine-tuned, but it's still them. I don't think they'd be successful if it wasn't them. You know what I mean? And no writer is so good that he can fake a Conan O'Brien for this many years on every platform, on every piece of media. It's like, no, this is actually just him, right? It's just fine-tuned when he shows up on a show, right? So that's all it is. It's like you could be yourself. You just got to know what that means and then fine-tune it in a way that's deliverable to an audience so that they can embrace it and connect to it. You don't want to make your audience work to figure you out. So you gotta give it to them. Right? I think I've seen some streamers kind of mess that up, where they are great personalities in real life, and then online and on stream they are so boring. They're whack. People just complain about how they're boring, etc. And then they say, well, I don't want to be fake. It's like, dude, I've seen you in person. You're hella funny. You're super entertaining. Your problem is you're just not communicating that to your audience. Communication is a big thing. It's like you got to figure out a way for your audience to get to know you the same way that your IRL friends know you. And that should be a big goal for you if you're trying to learn how to get bigger and have people love you on stream. It's like, how do you communicate it? Again, not being fake, just learning how to communicate the way you are so that your viewers online know you like your IRL friends know you. Yeah. Those are my big pieces of advice. This is like um, the startup ideas on how to like get into streaming. Um, and so yeah, I'm down to do a little bit of Q&A now if you're up for it, Pat. Yeah.
So, first question: how long have you been streaming exactly?
I started in the middle of 2014, maybe a little sooner, maybe at the beginning of 2014. Yeah. So I've been streaming for close to 6 years.
And
Partnered for like 5.
how
plus.
long did it take for you to kind of like really get into the groove of it?
I'd say honestly it took me like at first, so I started streaming and then I streamed like twice in a month and then 3 times the next month, and then I thought that was just a normal pace or whatever, and then at a certain point I decided to start doing it every day. And I think once I started doing it every day, it took me like a week to start getting into the groove that I started liking. I think at that point I was starting to grow and grow and grow on my stream. I wouldn't say I was like amazing at that point. I don't think I'm amazing now. I'm still learning, but I became the type of streamer I am today within a week of me streaming every day. Yeah.
So, who or what inspired you to start streaming?
Mango's stream largely inspired me just because I saw that he was getting to do what he loved to do for a living, and he was really good at it. And then also just the idea of not working in accounting. Nothing wrong with working in accounting. It just wasn't for me. Just being able to be my own independent boss, which I recognize that I was unable to work for a 9-to-5 company. Like, it's just not my style. So I knew that I needed something else, and streaming seemed like the perfect way for me to do everything I wanted with my career. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people just accept the 9-to-5
Yeah.
lifestyle.
And there's nothing wrong with it. It
Yeah.
is for some people.
But
The stability, right? But
I've had friends in the past that, I knew a guy that was a biochemist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I don't know how much schooling goes into that, but it's probably a lot.
Yeah.
You probably got to be really dedicated to it.
Yeah.
And he left and he started a career in video content creation.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, man, like, what made you leave that job? And he said to me, he's just like, I couldn't do 9-to-5.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. So
Yeah.
I like made my career somewhere else, and I'm happy because of it.
And it's hard to get out too, because people convince you that that's the only way to make a living. And they convince you that if you are quitting, it's because you're not good enough, right? That was a big thing when I was trying to decide if I wanted to leave accounting. It's like the idea that I had failed in accounting, where eventually I understood that it's not that I failed, it's that I just didn't want to do that anymore. And maybe I could have if I really like stuck to it, sure, but then I'd be like extremely unhappy. And I just realized it wasn't for me, and I wasn't a failure for leaving. And actually, when I left, a bunch of the accounting people were like, dude, I wish I could do what you did. Like, I wish I could have made the decision to pursue something else that I really liked. And so they respected it, right? Rather than being like, wow, you like gave up this career for video games. And it's like, not saying that everyone should. Like, you really have to decide for yourself if that's some people hate their job. Some people hate 9-to-5. Some people are just not giving it a fair shot. It could be any of those things, and you have to figure out what it is. And at a certain point, I figured out, no, this is actually not for me. I cannot do this, and I will not do this. And then I went into something else. Yeah.
Cool. So how do you fit streaming into a busy schedule? Like being an accountant, I'm sure that, like you said, it takes up a lot of your day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like carving out that time during the week, once a week, even, like it's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah. So
like what kind of like disciplines do you like put in place in order to like make sure that you're carving out that time for streaming?
one of the things you could do is like when you're using Twitter or anything like that, you could commit to times. So like once you tell people that this is when you're streaming, you kind of have to hold yourself accountable for it. So I would do that. It's like I'd be at work and then I'd tweet saying I'm going to be live at 7 p.m. when I get back from work, right? 8 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever it was. And then since I said it, I just had to do it no matter how tired I was. I did it. Especially in the growing phase where I wanted to make this my job so I could get out. But that's one of the things that helps. Other things include just finding out what you want to prioritize. So if streaming is a priority until it grows, then you might have to give up other things, right? Figure out what you can give up, what you can't give up. And then because don't burn yourself out doing everything. Like if you wanna do your 9 to 5 and then you want to like work out for 2 hours and you want to stream, well then you got to drop whatever other thing you're including into that amount of time, right? You have to, or you have to figure out what you're going to cut away from to balance it all out, right? Maybe instead of getting gains at the gym, you're just trying to maintain. So like maybe cut the gym time to like an hour, so you get an extra hour for stream. Or if you're like rocking Fortnite at the end of the night after stream just because you like playing video games, but that's not really a priority, then maybe cut that and then keep the gaming to the stream. I think when I started streaming, I actually stopped gaming altogether. All my gaming was just now on stream. And I'm okay with that because I find it just as fun to play the game on stream than to play it off and by myself, depending on the game, right? So I could get that kind of joy from doing it on stream, and it saves me a lot of time, you know? You just have to figure out how to balance your time. Prioritize, yeah.
So what's your number one don't do this rule when streaming?
Number one, don't do this. For me, it's having a whole lot of like quiet time on your stream. I'm talking like you're not saying anything, because a lot of times I'll come into someone's stream. I think most people, the way they watch streams, I don't know, tell me if this applies to you, but for me, when I watch a stream, I give it like the first 10 to 20 seconds before I decide if I want to stay or if I want to leave. And I will watch it. I'll have the sound on. I'll hear what's going on. And if I just hear like a bunch of just clicking the mouse and hitting the keyboards and saying nothing, doing nothing, or saying anything to the chat, and the chat's not really interacting with me either in some kind of way or anything, like then I have no reason to stay. I'm going to click away and find someone else. And that's me being like a new viewer. Whereas, you know, obviously if I'm a loyal viewer, then I give it time, right? Because I know this person and I like watching already. But the majority of people that come into your stream, and you'll notice, are new viewers rotating in and out. And if you're doing something that doesn't make them stay, then your viewership doesn't grow. But like, for example, like let's say you got like 150 viewers, right? You'll notice, or at least I'll notice on my stream, that number will either go up the more entertaining I am, or it'll go down the more bored or, you know, low energy I am. And that doesn't mean that that it had 150 people and 150 people, like 30 decided to leave because I was boring, or like 20 new ones came in because I was entertaining. Those 20 new ones never saw me to begin with. They weren't there to begin with to see me being entertaining. What happened is those 20 happened to come in at some point. Some of them left, some of them came, but some of the new people that came in, they decided to stick around. And so it went from 150, where, you know, people are leaving between 150 and 140, to a new person, or like 5 new people coming in and staying. So now it's 155 to 145 range. And then it goes 160 to 150 range. And then it goes 170 to 160 range. And like, so people are always in and out. And your job is to entertain those people that are rotating in, to keep them. And then so that the new people rotating in are just adding to your viewer count rather than maintaining it. If you have 150 for the whole hour, that's not because 150 people are just sitting there. It's because you're maintaining the rotation, right? So that's one of the. Sorry, I went on a whole rant there, but that's the main thing is that at any given moment, if you have a lot of dead air, that group of rotating people are not going to stick around, and you just lose them, and that's it.
Right.
So yeah.
To contrast with that, what's your number one do this rule? What do you absolutely 100% need to do?
I think that people need to get good at improv and building off of whatever the chat is saying in any kind of way. It could be humorous, it could be thoughtful, it could be in a lot of different ways. Like it could even be super positive. Like, holy crap, thank you for coming to my stream, blah, 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 and just being super bubbly and energetic. That works for some people. For me, I like to use humor as much as possible when I'm doing improv. So like I haven't taken any improv classes, but I just know that you have to be good at talking about a whole lot of nothing. And that means building off of just crap, like just nothing worth saying out of it, but you have to learn how to make it interesting. And I kind of learned that in accounting when you network with people, business people, like you have to find ways to talk about anything. You have to build on tangents. And stream is a great way it's a great place to do it, but also a great place to learn it because you do have people coming in and then just talking. You have to learn how to keep it going with them, and you'll get better at it as if you try it. Like, don't just answer a yes or no question with a yes or no answer. Like, build on it. Ask a question back. Say something more that gets them to say more, etc. And if you're ever dealing with like dead air, start asking the chat questions. A lot of times people are in there and they're just hanging out, idling, and they're not chatting. But if you say, yo, has anyone seen Joker this weekend? Then someone who is just chilling out in the chat says, oh, yeah, I did see it. I liked it. And I'm like, did you think this? This is what I think about it, and blah, blah, blah. And then they'll start talking, and then someone else is like, that movie was trash. And then you react to that, and then you just build something, right? But you ask something that gets people to go in and say, oh, I care about this topic. Let me type. Just get them talking. Improv. Yeah, that's the do.
So what is your relationship with your chat like?
Very meme heavy, but super respectful. Like I try to maintain a non-toxic chat. We're not uptight by any means, but it's just like if you pull some crap saying the wrong thing about some group of people, or just being an a-hole in general, you just get the boot. Like, so I try to maintain a positive community because they represent me and I represent them. And you'll definitely, it's the whole tone at the top thing. If you're the type of streamer that has a certain kind of attitude, that attitude will reflect on your audience. So you have to create the kind of community that you want to have. And so my community, what I want is people who get my jokes, people who spread my jokes, people who are respectful, people who have a good time, and people who go in and are not afraid to talk about anything, including like their personal lives. They could tell me, hey, this is what happened on my day. I'm like, dope. I'm glad to hear about it, and I'll talk to them about it, etc. I'd say that's my community overall.
How do you stay energetic on the streams? You know, like with all that improv, and like how long hours go into like streaming, like it's kind of easy to crash. So
yeah, I think couple things. I think your energy on stream starts with your day before you start streaming. So if I wake up super tired and just lazy and just kind of like out of it, my stream's probably going to be the same way. And I either have to find ways to snap myself out of it, or sometimes, honestly, I'll say, hey, not really feeling stream today, blah, blah, blah. I'll be back on tomorrow because I know I need a day to rest or something. Typically, that happens the day after travel, right? I'm just out of it. I'm done. But, or I'll find ways to pick myself up. Like, I'll go to the gym. Gym is a great way to get energy. I'll eat something healthy, right? I'll skip the fried chicken right before stream. I'll eat some. I'll eat a smoothie or something like that. And then if I really need it, if I can't snap out of it and I want to be on stream, then I hit the caffeine. So, so either way, like I'll find a way to pick myself up. But maintaining good energy is super important, and I think it starts before your stream ever goes live.
Yeah, Chad agrees too. So Roto says that's so true. I used to have great streams when having a great day.
Yeah,
so they really go hand in hand.
Easy, yeah. And a lot of times, your great streams come when you have something that you really want to talk to people about. So like having topics at hand in advance, like for me, is super helpful because I already have I already know what I'm doing on stream. Like, have you ever gone into work and it's dreadful because you don't know what you're going to be doing that day? Like, you don't know what you need to take care of and blah, blah, blah. But otherwise, when you go to work and you know that today is the day that you do this specific task and you get it done, work feels so much better because you go in with a plan and you already know what's going to happen. So with me, with my stream being like a whole lot of talking and things like that, if I know that this is the thing I want to talk about, like let's say this tournament just happened and I hadn't seen the matches, so I'm going to watch the matches live with my stream and it's going to be dope. I'm going to get to see it live. Then I already have like the whole plan laid out for the day. Not like in super detail, but I already know I'm going to watch this match, Mango Zane Grand Finals, Big House. I'm going to watch this match from Big House, this match from Big House, this match from Big House. And then I just have it laid out. Then I just run it. Then it's just improv on the guided topics that help me get through all the hours that I'm going to be streaming. So that helps my energy too. Yeah. Just having a plan.
So you think,
or topics. Yeah.
beyond just like having a stream, has it, I think what I'm trying to ask is, has streaming affected or changed your esports career in any way?
Streaming changed my esports career. Yeah. I mean, it's like half my esports career. I think without stream, I don't succeed as well in the esports side, and without esports, I don't succeed as well on the streaming side. I think they both go hand in hand. They help each other out, but then they also hurt each other because they take time away from really, really, really blowing up one or the other. It's definitely helped because you said my streaming career helped my esports, or my esports helped my streaming?
The first one. So how has streaming affected?
Oh, okay, yeah. So it helps grow my fan base too, where people are excited to watch me compete because they've built a connection with me through my stream. Like they know who I am on a personal level. So whether or not they love my specific style of play, they still want to see me win. So then they're there supporting. They're either there in person, like a lot of people. I remember the first time anyone ever came up to me and said, "Hey, I really like your stream." It was so sick. It was like, because I've been playing Smash for such a long time that when we finally like became an esport, when the first people came up and said, "Hey, I love your Samus," I'm like, "Wow, thank you. Like, can you sign this?" I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, you want me to sign something? I play video games. That's crazy to me. Like, that's like what celebrities do. This is wild." And it was super exciting, right? I got that feeling all over again when someone came up to me and said, "Hey, dude, I love your stream." I'm like, "Wow, you watch it? Like, you care enough about it to come up and tell me that you love it? You didn't even talk about my Samus. Like, you didn't even mention my gameplay. You just came up and told me that you love my stream." That was awesome. And nowadays, I get about an even amount of both of those. Like, there's people who love me for my stream. There's people who love me for my gameplay. I think the majority of people will always mention my stream if they ever watch it. Like, they go hand in hand. It's really cool.
Awesome. So I think we're going to take some questions from chat. So if anybody is watching right now and wants to leave a question in chat for Hugo to answer. Yeah. First one, I think, is probably the most important one that we've gotten so far. How old are you?
26.
You're 26?
Yeah.
Does it say that on your ID?
What's up?
Does it say that on your ID?
Yeah, but I can't really show it on stream. It's got my address and stuff. Like, yeah, if you guys could like block it out in real time and stuff, then maybe I could show it. But otherwise, I'm afraid afraid that's personal. Yeah. I'd love to. It says it on my shirt. So. Yeah.
Yeah, Soap says you have that down on lock.
Yeah.
Mr. Eisenman was saying, how do you engage your community? So, like, obviously you yourself are engaged in making sure that your chat is having fun, but
Mhm.
like how
How do I keep them in there? How do I
Yeah.
get them? Like, so, if we're talking just on stream, because I engage them on Twitter, I engage them on Instagram, right? But on stream, I engage them by asking them questions, getting their thoughts on things. And then when I give my thoughts on things or my jokes or whatever, I try to find out what they think about that, etc. Like a conversation, right? Like you don't just talk at people in a conversation. You want to hear what they have to say. And they give you something and you build with that. And then you build tangents and things like that. So pretty much the answer to that question is I make my chat interactions feel like a real conversation. At least I try to. And I try to do that with as many people as possible in the stream.
How do you choose your mods? That's always like something that is like
I'm so bad at that. Like the problem with esports or being a streamer that's in esports, specifically Smash, it's mostly a Smash issue, is that you are so personally connected with the people in the scene, right? As a community, Smash is an in-person game where, you know, the star players are not just on stage and they go backstage. No, they're like in there in the trenches playing pools with everybody. So you interact with people, you get to know people, you hang out for dinner with them, you go drinking with them, etc. So a lot of those people, they pop in your chat and then you give them mod status because you know them in real life and you're like, yeah, you're cool. Yeah, take this mod. And then they never show up in your stream or they show up like once in a while and they don't do their job. They're not real mods. They're just like connected. So I have like a ridiculous number of mods. I mean like 80 or something. And then when I'm streaming, I have maybe like 4 actually in the chat doing their jobs.
what's like the average amount of like some of your friends who are streamers?
I think
like,
it's way less. Like I think Mango probably has like 10 or 12 like quality mods that are in there. So with me, it's like quantity over quality. Like at the very least, there's going to be a couple people in there that can do the job if I demand them to. But the majority of my mods are people that show up once every 8 months sometimes, you know. So I got to clean that up. Yeah.
Joker in chat is asking how do you get your first initial viewers? Or like, actually, I kind of want to expand on that question as well. Do you remember like your interaction with like the first viewers that you had in your chat? I know that's like probably a very old question, but
well, the problem with asking me that question is that I had the advantage of being established in a game already before I started streaming. So I already had an audience who wanted to watch me stream. So when I first started streaming, I started streaming to like 30 to 50 viewers at a time. So I had some audience to build off of. But for people who do not have that, there are different ways to go about it. I think one of the best ways to do that is to be a stream monster and watch streams and be in chats so that people know you within those streams, so that when you finally start streaming, you are connected to enough people in those chats and maybe even the streamers themselves so that they could provide viewership for you to build off of, right? So like, for example, if you're like a stream monster in my stream, chances are you're going to get to know other people within that stream pretty well. Like we have a pretty tight community. This is the advantage of watching streamers where the chat is actually tolerable and not just like pasta, and you can never get a word in and nobody notices you and all that, like the really, really big streamers. So you hang out in like mid-sized streams where you could actually chat, you get to know the community, and then you start streaming. Those people that you're interacting with in the chat will be like 90% of the time will be hanging out in your chat too to watch you stream. and then you can build off that. And then you get like decent enough, and like the streamer starts to know you. Like there are people in my chat, like let's say like Link or Sharp or like Brooklyn, who like they literally came to my Halloween party. Like they're there, and if they ever start streaming, I'm gonna host them for sure at some point, right? And that would be viewership for them to start building off of too. So if you have no viewership or no way to get like clear viewership, then you need to be essentially networking within the Twitch world to get people to know who you are without, obviously, don't be obvious. Don't be like, hey guys, like I'm here with this purpose and I'm going to be streaming and I hope you watch this. Like nobody cares about that, right? Be authentic, be a normal person, but interact and like get to know people in there so that when you do stream, you already have an audience built in.
Do you have any like notable hosts from the past, like large streamers kind of like passing their chat?
It's happened on plenty of occasions. Do you mean way back or at any point?
Just like, was there one like particular one in memory where you were like, oh, like that guy, that's awesome.
Pay Money Wubby.
Yeah.
Who came and raided me with his microwave obsessed community. He came in, he raided me with it was a big raid. It was a fat raid. It was like 1,500 or something. And then the first thing they all did was they spammed saying like, show us your microwave. I'm like, what do you mean? Like I'm 4 flights of stairs up from my microwave where I live. I'm like, and I'm on my PC. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And then they're like, show us your microwave. And I'm in the middle of playing poker with a bunch of other streamers. And then like Ludwig knows Pay Money Wubby. And he's like, dude, they're telling you to show your microwave and you're not showing it. You need to go show your microwave. I was like, damn it. All right, fine. So I switched to my phone. So I turn off my stream, go back live on my phone within like 10 seconds, walk all the way downstairs, show them the microwave. I'm like, okay, did you guys get what you wanted? Are you done? Then they're like, put us in the microwave. Put us in the microwave. I'm like, are you serious? You want me to put you in the microwave? Okay. So then I put my phone in the microwave. I didn't turn it on, obviously, but I put it in the microwave. And then I took it out, and I thought that'd be the end of it. And then they all start yelling at me to yeet my microwave. I'm like, what do you mean yeet my microwave? And I'm like, from where? And then they wanted me to yeet or throw my microwave from the balcony. And then my roommates were all down. I said, all right, 100 subs and I'll do it. And then we hit 100 subs. They set up the lights. I went to the balcony and I just chucked it off the balcony. And that was it. And I just couldn't believe. I asked Wubby too. I'm like, how many times has this been successful? He's like, only a handful of times. Like, barely anyone has yeeted their microwave. So it was cool. I made a moment for that community. It was fun.
Nice.
It's on my YouTube actually.
Is it?
Can I plug my YouTube?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. YouTube.com/HugS86. There's a video footage of the microwave yeet. You should check it out. It's on my uploads. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I guess if we don't have any other questions, I think that was a successful streaming 101, day one. We're going to be doing this, is it weekly, monthly? Weekly. Not necessarily with me, other people with insight in the streaming world, but I'm sure I'll be doing another one at some point in the future. But I hope this has helped some of you. I hope this has given some of you some ideas on how to possibly start your stream if you're thinking of starting, or improving it if you already are streaming. But yeah, thanks for watching. Shout outs to Caffeine for getting this together. And I hope this helps you guys out, and wishing you all some successful streaming careers in the future. All right. Peace out. Thanks, Patrick.